is US Home Talk, and we're live every Wednesday at noon. Jason Walgrave here with Walgrave Real Estate Group and the Minnesota Real Estate Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We've got Mortgage Mike Overson with the Luminate Home Loan team of mortgage and loan money experts. Luminate.
That's right.
We've got Evan Little, our insurance guru and our great producer. Evan, we know you're there. We wouldn't be here if you were not here, so thank you.
I wave.
Marcus is off again. You got the wave. Marcus is off again. I think he's got another track board meeting or something. So, as many of you know, the Walgrave family and actually the Overson family now are quite into track and field. Of course, Kai's been running for quite a few years, but she's really going in some different places this year with running on varsity as an 8th grader and kicking some butt on the track. It's a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely a different level for her, but as an 8th grader, with her basically being the second fastest girl in the school, it's actually pretty impressive.
It's really impressive because we're not talking about a school like Laverne, for example, where we only graduated with about 100 kids. There's 700-800 kids per grade, so there's like 2,500 kids in the high school, and she's only an 8th grader running on varsity. It's pretty awesome.
Right now,
I will say, in the paper yesterday.
She was in the paper, local newspapers. So that was pretty cool. But I will say, Laverne, I don't know if you saw this, Laverne girls track team won True Team state.
True Team champions. I saw that.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah. Shout out to the Laverne girls.
Yes, the great city of Laverne. Has Evan, have you been to Laverne yet? Or what's the story there? Have you been down there?
I haven't.
He is not. So
it sounds like he's
Evan.
I think he's in the cafeteria in Laverne High School right now. That's what it sounds like. It's ravioli day with the cinnamon rolls. I think day down there.
I loved ravioli day. I always got seconds or thirds on ravioli day.
Yeah, there were certain days ravioli day. I'm trying to think what else you get seconds on all the time. Those are the days we look forward to.
Grilled cheese day. Yep. And then there was they take the piece of bread and then they put some ketchup in it and then they put a hot dog in it and then they would tie it up and then they'd bake it. And I don't know what that was called, but
it always went in succession. It was grilled cheese day, and then the next day was hot dog day, and then the next day after that, they basically took all the leftovers from those 2 days and basically smashed it all together and baked it, and then that was the 3rd day in a row. It was very, very easy to predict what the lunch menu was going to be that week.
It sure was, but man, it was as I recall, it was very good food. So, folks, best way to get a hold of us anytime is our website, ushometalk.com. Liz sent me over the final revision yesterday. It looks fantastic, so I think we'll get it launched by the end of this week, which is only like a week or two behind when I predicted. But nevertheless, it looks really, really good. So excited about that. We, of course, have our real estate hotline number, which is 612-234-7585. You can text us questions during the show to that number, or you can call or text that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is our real estate hotline number. It connects directly with myself, Mike, Marcus, Evan, and all of our fantastic US Home Talk partners. So let's see. What are we talking about today? Excited about today. We're talking about investing in real estate. I am a huge believer in the value of real estate as an investment. My wife and I have invested in dozens of properties over the years. Some we've purchased and renovated and sold. Some we've purchased, renovated, and kept. Some we still hold. So real estate as an investment it makes sense why it's my preferred investment, because that's what I've been doing for the last 20 plus years. But I've also seen so many of our clients and customers build their net worth and build their wealth through real estate. Today we're going to be talking about some tips for a new real estate investor. So maybe you've been thinking about investing in real estate. Maybe you own a home or maybe you don't, but the idea of investing in real estate is something that you want to get into. Today we're going to be talking about some things that new real estate investors should keep in mind. And then I've got we're going to go over investment real estate analysis. This is a 5-page analysis that we do for our clients when they're considering different properties. And so we're going to take an example of a $500,000 duplex. We're going to talk about what that looks like, the numbers, what it looks like 10 years from now, and how you can build your net worth and build your future wealth through real estate. And then, of course, we'll be talking about the financing or mortgage side of things throughout the process. Again, one of the most amazing things about buying real estate is it gives you the ability to leverage bank financing, buy a property. You've got renters in there that are paying for not only the mortgage overhead, but the cost to own that real estate. You're able to cash flow most of the time. And then what does that mean as far as appreciation and your ROI, your return on investment, your cash on cash return with and without appreciation? And what does it look like over the next 10 years? And how much more can you grow your wealth? So love this episode. We haven't done it in a while. So I'm excited to get back and talk about investing in real estate, and really it's something that we could talk about for 10 shows in a row. And so today we're going to give you just a little bit of information on how to invest in real estate specifically for new investors, and then we're going to give that one example of what it looks like to buy a fourplex. Folks, we appreciate any questions, comments during the show. Of course, we're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. You can make those questions or comments in the comment section. You can also text in your questions to our real estate hotline number, which is 612-234-7585. That is our text line. Evan's got it scrolling at the bottom, so thanks, Evan, for doing that. And it's also our 24-hour real estate hotline, so you can call us, text us anytime, get in contact with us or any of our fantastic partners. All right, investing in real estate. Some people think that you got to have a whole lot of cash, mountains and mountains of cash in order to invest in real estate. One of the techniques that many of our first-time home buyers have been using, and especially in the last 10 years, is they'll come to us. They're looking to buy their first home, and they not only want to know what the payment is for when they live there, but they want to know what will that property rent out for. And so oftentimes we're running both numbers. Okay, this is what it's going to cost you to own this home and to live in it. And then someday if you decide to move out and keep that property, this is what it will likely rent for. And then they can run the numbers on that, which is incredible because we've seen more of that in the last decade than previous years. And so it's very exciting for me to see these young buyers, first-time home buyers that are also thinking about, hey, this is going to be an investment property. And they're thinking next year or maybe every year or every 2 years, they're going to be living there for a year or two, and then they're going to keep it, rent it out, and buy another property. But Mike, those are exciting clients to work with when they're thinking that far ahead.
Well, people here investing in real estate, you're probably thinking, oh, I own a house now and we want to go buy, a duplex, or we were going to buy a townhouse that we're going to just buy and rent out. Really, your first investment real estate is the home you buy for yourself. And you mentioned that, Jason. So first-time home buyers, when you buy that house, you're really investing in real estate is what you're doing, right? And so that's the easiest way to get in is you buy your first home. Now, accumulating properties, so you have like a true investment property, which means that you're going to have this property and rent it out. The easiest way to get into that is to, like you said, Jason, we bought our first house. We lived there for a little while. Now we're going to move out and we're going to buy another house that we're going to live in ourselves. We're going to keep that first house, and that's going to be the rental property.
Yeah. And
by doing that, you get into the new property over here, the second house you're going to buy with lower down payments, lower interest rates, right? And that is very powerful because now if you have $50,000 to use to go buy other properties, you can either buy one true investment property where I got to put 20% down and now you've used up your 50 and you're capped, or I can buy a new house for myself I can use maybe 20 grand of that 50, and now I still have $30,000 left over. Now I can repeat that again in the next year or two, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you can just keep on repeating the cycle.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. You can buy 4 or 5 times as much property if you're using that strategy of buying it to live in first. And some of our clients, they only live there for a year, and some live there for a couple of years. And so we've also had, this year, especially as we have a lot of move up buyers that are coming to us, and they're saying, look, we got to move. We've outgrown our home. We need a bigger house. The family has grown, or whatever the case is. And they're like, oh man, I got a 2.75 interest rate on my current house, or I got a 3 1/4 interest rate, 30-year fixed rate on my house. And they're thinking, I know that's an opportunity that I'm probably never going to see again, as far as an interest rate, a 30-year fixed rate. They say, you know what? What will our house rent out for? So we'll run the numbers. We run the numbers, and more times than not, we discover that they're going to cash flow a decent amount on that as a rental property. And so they keep the house. They keep that house. They rent it out. Now let's say you are cash flowing $400 or $500 a month. Now you take that $500 a month. You now put that towards the house you're going to buy, which will likely offset the majority of the increase in interest rate that we have today compared to last year, right? And so now you've been able to still take advantage of the rate that you got last year by turning that into an investment property that cash flows, which then you put that cash flow towards the new property. And so now, the interest rate, if it's at 6%, it doesn't sting quite as much because you've got something to offset that. So so many ways to get creative in real estate, to build your wealth and to build your real estate portfolio.
And I would be hard pressed to find a situation where someone's got somewhere between a 2.75 and a 3 1/4 interest rate in their house, and they don't cash flow at least 400 to 500. I mean, that's probably a minimum. So most of the people that I'm looking at now that did refinance or did buy back when rates are that low, and they're looking to buy again right now, I mean, a payment on a townhouse is $1,300 to $1,400 all in with those types of interest rates. They're getting $2,000 to $2,100 for rent.
Yeah.
They're cash flowing $800 to $900 on there, right? The lowest I've seen is like 400 and some change. So, so there's a big opportunity there. And so when someone comes to me and says, "Hey, this is what we're looking at. We need to buy a new house because our family is growing and stuff," but these interest rates where they're at and just the cost of everything in total, I don't think it makes sense for us. And I'm like, you're in a perfect position. And they kind of like give me the whole dog, like cockeye, like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you got a money maker right now. You got your current house at the 2.75. That's a money maker.
Yeah.
You can make $800 to $900 a month right now on that thing. Offsets the payment on the new house and then some, and you're sitting really good. And then the light bulb goes off like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then we move forward.
And one of the biggest hesitations with buying real estate is the management part of it, right? Because they don't want to deal with renters, and they don't want to deal with calls at midnight on Friday because the light bulb's out or whatever the case is. And there's solutions to that. I mean, we work with, a couple fantastic property management companies. And so it can be a nearly hands-off experience owning real estate if you're partnered with the right folks. So folks, again, best way to get a hold of us anytime during the week is our website, ushometalk.com. We've got a real estate hotline number. You can text in questions during this show, which is 612-234-7585, or you can leave your questions or comments in the comment section on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. So investing in real estate, if you're a new investor, so let's say this is going to be your first investment property, here's some things to think about. Real estate investing is a business, and you have to treat it like a business. And so it's important to create a business plan, to put together projections, whether that's a 2, 3, 5, 10-year projection, and run it as a business. I think, there was a time, 15, 20 years ago where, people were just, buying investment properties. There were some insane mortgage products out there where it was, 100% financing on investment properties, and you can go buy 5 at a time. And, and it was done more because that's what people were doing, and it was not set up as a business. And so, so important that if you're going to invest in real estate, you set it up as a business. That includes things like making sure you have separate checking account for that property. You're probably going to want to put it in an LLC. You're going to want to take a look at the different insurance options out there, not only to protect the property, but to protect you as well. So umbrella policies. So really important to look at it as a business. Investing in real estate is a business. You're going to want to check your credit report. And I tell you what, we talk about credit all the time on this show, right? We've got Jared Havens that comes on about once a month from Credit Life, talks about the importance of credit. You got to check your credit report. You got to check where your credit is. Generally, financing that's available for investment properties is different than if you're buying a home. There's less credit qualifications when you're buying a home. There's higher credit qualifications when you're buying an investment property. There's fantastic products out there. Next on our list is actually find a good bank or mortgage broker. So, Mike, this is where you come in. And even if you're working with a bank that's going to offer maybe a commercial loan, that is not tied to your personal credit. And those loans are out there. So commercial loans, they're not on your personal credit. They're going to give that loan in maybe the LLC or the company that holds the real estate. They're still going to check your personal credit. And so they still want to look at your personal credit profile. You're going to likely have to personally guarantee that mortgage, but credit is so important when you're investing in real estate.
Yeah. Yep. And really through your life, we talked about that. What does credit run? And I think I drew a picture of the earth,
the world,
and I drew that. I mean, literally, credit affects everything in your life. So it's very important to stay on top of that. And that's why we partner with Jared Havens and Credit Life over there, because they're not just like a doctor, right? You're going to go in and get stitched up and they send you on your way, right? They don't just fix the wound. What they do is they fix the wound and they educate you and they instill good habits in you so that when moving forward and when you're out of their program, then you keep your credit at a higher level. So so it's important to line yourself up with the right people on that side too.
It's so important. And the banking part of it is, we have some clients that purchase investment real estate with only cash, but it's pretty rare. The smartest investors that we've worked with over the years, they understand the value of leveraging bank financing, leveraging mortgages in order to buy, not just one home or one investment property, but multiple ones by leveraging that bank financing. And then there's some incredible benefits from that, right? And so and we'll talk a little bit later in the show about that, but we're going to talk about the transfer of equity. And so we're going to talk about, a property that you currently own. Maybe it's one that you live in. You've got a bunch of equity. That equity sitting in that house is going to appreciate based on that home, or you can take that, use that as a down payment to purchase another piece of real estate. And now your appreciation potential has just, quadrupled, or 5 times what it was with that equity sitting in the other property. So a lot of options out there. You want to determine the area that you want to invest in. I think a lot of first-time investors, they have this idea in their head that they need to buy a property close to where they physically live. And the thought is, well, it's easier to own it there. It's easier to manage. The reality is there are far, far more opportunities if you're willing to look at a much bigger area. Whether it's, an hour away or 2 hours away or 5 hours away, we have some of our clients, they buy all over the country. They buy all over the United States investment properties. And if you have a management company in place to manage the properties, it doesn't really matter where it's at. And so determining the area that you want to be in, make sure that you're open to looking out further than where you live, because there will be more opportunities.
Classic example, person in Minnesota buying like a condo down in Florida.
Yes.
And doing like an Airbnb on it, or a VRBO. that's something that you're buying this property. You could do short-term rentals on there. And with today's technology and stuff, I mean, that's very, very easy to do. But then you can use it for yourself. Now, what if you want to go down to Florida for a week vacation? Well, now you can use your property that you own already, right? So
Yes.
you have that. So you will see that. I mean, we've already seen it, Jason. A lot of people expanding their search criteria as far as the investment real estate they want to buy, whether it's snowbirds that buy something in Florida, Arizona, some of those warmer states, or it's even some people from down there buying up here in Minnesota for their summer stuff.
Yep, absolutely. And so keep it, keep that that open. We've had actually a lot of clients over the years that have also bought in Mexico. And so they're going out of the United States to buy investment real estate. Now that's a whole different animal, and that's probably a whole show in itself on how you make that happen.
Right.
But it's important to expand your idea of where to invest in real estate. It's important to talk to local investors, so other investors in your area. It's important to talk to them, find out what's trending. You'll get an idea on the rental market, especially if you're gonna buy out of this area. For example, if you're gonna buy down in Florida, spend some time down there talking to other folks that own investment properties in Florida. Get an idea about what the local investment real estate market looks like. The more that you educate yourself on that, the better investment that you'll make, because you have more knowledge and you'll have more options. Consider multiple sources for buying properties. And so, we over the years have worked with so many of our buyers that, of course, we're going to set a search on the MLS, and we're going to take a look at everything that hits the open market. But we're also going to tap into our network of off-market properties and look at things that are not on the market. We're going to look at other strategies like contacting the owners of investment real estate properties and just going direct and saying, hey, are you willing to sell? Would you consider selling your property? And so it's important to look at all of the potential sources to where to find properties, because many of them are sold off market. They're sold within networks that agents or teams have, networks, Mike, that you and I have built over the years. We have literally hundreds of investors within our network that we can reach out to and say, hey, we've got a buyer. They're looking for this. What do you have? A lot of investors are willing to sell their properties, but don't want to put their properties on the open market.
So it kind of goes back down to who you surround yourself with and who you're working with, because you are correct there. And we saw this really surge when COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was so many more off-market sales happening when COVID hit, because nobody was getting together. You know what I mean? So you had all this stuff. Nobody was really getting together, but at the office. But what was happening is that there was basically this list, if you will, shared between the brokerages of, hey, if you have an off-market property, you're going to share that with your agents on that list that are inside your company there first, and they're going to get first access to them. And then they would release it to the MLS or the general public after that. And so there was a ton of sales. I can't remember the percentage, but wasn't it a percentage? Wasn't it as high as like 15 or 20% of all sales were off market for a while?
It was huge. We did more off market deals in an 18-month period than we did the previous 10 years combined.
Yeah.
It was a massive amount of off market deals. And that also applies to investment properties. As a new investor, you got to spend some time reading about investing in real estate. There's some great resources out there. There's some great, audiobooks and books and podcasts. There's a lot to learn. It is very exciting. I can remember when I was taking my real estate classes, and this goes way back to, and I know, Mike, you'll find this hard to believe. Evan, you will too, but this goes way back to 1999. And so, it's 3 weeks of classes. One of I think it was probably course 3, but there was a whole day, and the whole day was investing in real estate. And by far my my favorite day of all of the classes that I took. But I remember leaving and going, oh my goodness, I can't believe no one has ever told me about this. Because I had recently graduated college, a few months before. I had never even heard of this concept of leveraging bank money and taking out a mortgage and buying property and then having renters, pay all of the overhead for it. And then to look at what that means over the course of, 5, 10, 15 years and how you can build up this net worth through real estate investing, and fascinating. So it's important to do the research, spend some time reading about investing in real estate. Make sure you're talking to people, talking to other investors, talking to agents and mortgage professionals that have experience in investing in real estate. Because especially if it's your first one, you want to work with a team and mortgage and real estate team that have experience with investment properties to make sure that you're going to be represented at the highest level.
Absolutely. Because then we talk about, then it's like my brain starts spinning too. Another strategy is, contract for deeds.
Yes.
So then you have that avenue of, hey, there's someone that wants to buy a house, but maybe they don't meet credit requirements or whatever. They can't qualify for their own financing. Well, what if you go buy the house for them, sell it back to them on a contract for deed? Now you have that as another avenue versus a straight rental, and that might be a little more advanced, probably getting outside of the box of what we're going to talk about today. But again, working with people who know how they work, right? That's what we're trying to get to, is having people surround you that know how that work and can say, look, this particular situation would be great for this, and this is why, right? So maybe it does make more sense to do a contract for deed type of situation versus a straight rental on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually on our list of recommendations, is to find a great realtor to not only help you, and that would be a great realtor or a great team to not only help you locate the properties, but to help analyze them as well. One of the things that we offer our clients is we do a 5-page investment analysis, and it breaks down everything. We put in the income and the expenses. It'll calculate, and we'll go over that in a minute because I have that fourplex example. It calculates your cash on cash return. It shows you all the numbers. And then you can determine whether or not, yep, that makes sense, or no, that it does not make sense. That's the beautiful thing about investing in real estate, is it's all numbers, right? I mean, it's just, you might, when you're buying a home, there's more emotional time, or there's more emotions invested in it because you're going to be living there, right? And so you might buy a house just because you like the house. Investing in real estate, you should be buying it because the numbers make sense. And so that also brings up a thought. We've talked about this before, Mike, in the past. When you're buying investment properties, doesn't matter what the price is, doesn't matter what the interest rate is.
Yep.
Irrelevant. It's what's it going to cost me per month, and how much will I be able to bring in rent, and do those numbers make sense? A lot of times there's kind of this rule out there. Todd Ricker talks about this often, but they're looking for a 1% per month of the sale price rule. And so what does that mean? So if you're buying a $100,000 property, for example, does the rent bring in $1,000 per month? And so that can be a quick guide for folks to look at, before actually going to see the property or spending a ton of time into it. Is it close to that number? Is the cost of the home going to bring in approximately 1% per month? The example we're going to go over is close to that. I've got a $500,000 fourplex that we're going to talk about. That's bringing in $4,800 per month. So it's very close to that 1% rule that many investors are kind of, that's their goal. And then lastly, guys, learn from the best, right? I mean, there's so many investors out there that have done an incredible job over the years building up their portfolio. Mike, I think about, the Yoda, for example. I mean, yeah. Steve, the Yoda Perkins, he has invested in so many properties over the years. He is a high level real estate investor. I love talking to him about investing in real estate, and all the things he's experienced and seen over the years. Make sure you're talking to those folks that have the experience, that have been doing it a long time. Learn from the best real estate agent and team, the best mortgage team, and talk to the guys that have been doing it or the gals that have been doing it, buying and investing in real estate. And so there's a lot of, knowledge out there. There's really no secrets to investing in real estate, right? I mean, there's not a get rich quick thing, and there's no secret sauce. I mean, we just take the things that successful investors have learned over the years, and then we learn from that and we replicate the things that have worked. So spend some time, treat it as a business, but man, it's a lot of fun investing in real estate.
Is it? I mean, real estate's one of those investments where literally you have someone else pay for it for you.
Yes.
Right. So you buy a $400,000, duplex, and you have a renter in there the whole time. And you go all the way down, you pay the loan off, you own that thing free and clear. That renter bought that duplex for you, or your renters throughout the years bought that duplex for you.
Yes.
You can't lose. I mean, as long as you keep a renter in there, as long as you keep someone in there paying for that asset for you, there's really no way to lose.
I mean, can you get that type of investment in the stock market? Can you get somebody else to make your monthly contributions to your stock portfolio?
Right.
No. Where else other than real estate can this happen? And that's why it's such an incredible way to build your future wealth. Best way, folks, again, to get a hold of us anytime is our website, ushometalk.com. You can give us questions or comments in this comment section on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Our real estate hotline number, which is a 24-hour real estate hotline number, will connect with Mike, myself, Evan, Marcus, all of our fantastic partners, is 612-234-7585. I like it when Evan puts it up right when I'm about to say it, so that in the rare case that I would forget a number or a website or anything else,
your name,
he's got that up there too.
I just got your name there just in case. You are getting up there in age. You just dated yourself the whole taking my classes in 1999.
I can tell you that my memory is not as good as it used to be. There it is. Now I blame that on the fact that I have accumulated so much information and knowledge over the years that's the reason. But I think it might be something else.
Well, the more knowledge you stuff in there, right, it takes longer to access it. Just like filling up your hard drive. Hard drive's getting filled up on there, and I got to cycle through all the files to get to where I need to get to. I get it.
It's like accessing your AOL account on your Apple IIe back in the day, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it takes a minute. So, all right, here's the example, folks. This is a investment real estate analysis report that we run for our clients when they're looking at buying real estate. Look at that big brain. I love it. That's my new name. Can you see that right down there at the bottom? Big brain.
I don't believe it though. I don't. Nope.
I love it. All right. So here's an example. Fourplex. I chose a fourplex for a couple of reasons. One, because it is not a commercial property. And so it might be a little bit easier to obtain financing. And this could also be a property, your first property that you're buying to live in. So we're using a fourplex in this example, 4-unit property, approximately 4,000 square feet, so about 1,000 square foot per unit. I've got a current market value of $500,000, and I have a sale price of $500,000. So in this example, you're going to put 20% down, which is $100,000. We'll talk about when I'm done with this example, we'll talk about different ways to acquire the $100,000. But in this case, $100,000 cash you're going to put down leaves you with a mortgage amount of $400,000. I used a 6.5% interest rate on this one. This would not be a 30-year fix. It's probably going to be some type of an ARM product, maybe a 3-arm or a 4-arm or a 5-arm, where it's fixed for that amount of time and then it will adjust. So we've got 6.5% rate. We have the gross monthly income of $4,800 a month. And so that's $1,200 per unit. You've got 4 units. It's $4,800 a month, just below the $5,000 per month kind of target that many investors are looking for. Property taxes, I've got $5,000. I've got this one. I put property management in here at $200 a month for a fourplex. So that's $2,400 a year. If you decide to manage the property yourself, you would then take out that $2,400. So property management, $2,400. I've got repairs and maintenance at $1,600 per year. So this is assuming you're buying a property that's in really good condition, that it's been well maintained, and there isn't any big dollar items that you're expecting. Insurance at $2,500, water, sewer, garbage at $1,200, and then I have utilities also at $1,200. So I've got your total operating expenses in this example is going to be about $13,900. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the second page, and we're going to talk about, okay, what does this all mean? So your cash flow before tax benefits, your cash flow before tax benefits on this property is $10,480 per year. So that's, it's just slightly under $1,000 a month cash flow on this property. Now, you've got principal loan reduction, so you got to keep that in mind. You've got principal loan reduction of about $4,500 a year. You've got your annual net operating income of $40,000. Then you minus your debt, you minus your depreciation, right? Because you've got depreciation on the property. That's one of the tax benefits of owning rental real estate. And so you've got, it breaks down and it looks at, I calculated a 4% annual appreciation on this property. So I wasn't, looking at 6, 7, 8% appreciation. I'm only looking at 4%, which is conservative. It's less than the 40-year average. But I like to run conservative numbers when we're running this analysis. So the property is going to appreciate $20,000 a year. So you've got your first year rate of return with projected appreciation is 36%. Your first year rate of return with projected appreciation is 36%. Where can you get 36% anywhere? You can't. Without the appreciation, you're still at 16%. Okay, so you've got and then it also has a cap rate of 8%. The cap rate is determined by taking the net income divided by the price, and it gives you a cap rate. Most investors right now, they're looking at anything between 6 and 8% is really good. We have some investors that are buying stuff in the 3-4% cap rate for different reasons. Maybe it's a triple net, and they're looking for some tax benefits, and the cash flow isn't quite as important. So, all right. So now I want to take a look at kind of the 10-year picture on this property. So if you look at the end of 10 years, the sale price on that property is going to be $740,000. So you've got you look at your total yearly P&L on that property. There's going to be $151,000. Your accumulated profit and loss, so this is the big one, is $347,000. That is your accumulated profit on this property over 10 years, $347,000. Keep in mind, you got renters in there that are paying the cost to own it, including the mortgage. And so you've got your internal rate of return at 10 years is 16.86%. That's your rate of return when you buy this property. And so that's assuming, folks, you're going to be putting $100,000 cash down. And so, that cash is, maybe it's, different investments that you have. Maybe it's just cash that you have and you want to put it in real estate. Now, think about this concept. Think about the transfer of equity. Okay. Let's say you own another property or other properties, right? And you have available equity. Now, if you take $100,000 in equity from one property and you transfer it into the purchase of this property, now what you're doing is you've taken that $100,000, which will appreciate at the $100,000 while it's currently in the property that it's in, or you use that $100,000 to buy a $500,000 property. Now you're appreciating at $500,000. So you've taken your appreciation potential and you've multiplied it by 5 by buying additional real estate, utilizing bank financing, and seeing all the benefits that it can have. It is awesome.
Yeah, it's unreal to think that you can do that, right? $100,000, and to be honest with you, at that point, if you're taking equity from one, transferring it to the other, it's not coming out of your pockets, right? It's you don't feel it like you would if I got $100,000 sitting in the savings account and now it's gone, right? Now, again, that $100,000 in your savings account is now equity in that property, right? So it didn't go away, but that's kind of what it feels like, right? Yes. If you take it out of a savings account, it feels like it kind of went away. One property to another, you don't get that same feeling, right? Yes. So it's monopoly money at that point, right? It's making your moves. It's shifting the stuff around.
Yes.
And it's giving you an opportunity, like you pointed out, Jason, to multiply the type of return you can get on that $100,000.
Yes, it's incredible. It's super exciting. Folks, we appreciate you tuning in today. This is kind of one of the first. We're gonna be talking a lot about investing in real estate this year. We got things to talk about like 1031 tax exchange. We're gonna talk about how to sell multiple properties, smaller properties, and buy bigger ones. We're gonna talk about Airbnb and VRBO. In fact, we gotta have John Walgrave on and talk about some of the incredible tax benefits for those type of investments. But in the meantime, you can find us on our website, ushometalk.com. We've got a real estate hotline number, which is 612-234-7585. You can call that number anytime. Text will connect you with Mike, myself, Evan, Marcus, all of our fantastic partners on the show here. And again, I think we're going to have our website launched by the end of the week. So check that out, ushometalk.com. Folks, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you have a fantastic holiday weekend. Looks like it's going to be beautiful. Jason Walgrave here, Mike Overson, Evan Little. We will see you guys next week.